for fantasy. Football franchise, talking about that guy. Hoogie, Tyler every week. Heavy analytics, competition real steep. Whoa, that's sweet. Oh, in this belief. Nick so sick, man, bringing ships the whole fleet. Goats, not sheep. Follow every tweet. Don't sleep, always finding sleepers on the street, boy. F3, winning every single league. Money back guaranteed, but it's free. Welcome to the franchise. Welcome to the franchise. Let's go.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the F3 Pod. My name is Sean. You can find me on Twitter at Laney1925. I'm here with my co-host, Joey.
I am at Joey the Tooth IDP.
And Andrew's with us, too.
Hey,
What's Andrew this week? What's?
So it's not changed yet. It looks like Biddy Cent won the poll, but apparently it's taken. So I need to find a modifier to qualify. So, I might stick with the Biddy Cent 02 at the end of the Dubs fans.
Dude, you're just gonna go rogue and name it Biddy Sense.
Ooh, I kind of like that.
And I'm just not gonna. I'm gonna continue to not say it.
But I think what you should do is make it a play on words and make it Biddy Sense, like SENSE.
Oh, I was thinking Biddy Sense with a Z. I think Sean would really dig that.
I'm not doing this. All right. So we got a lot of people to talk about today, so we're gonna just get started. Andrew, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, how about Kenyon Drake's big week? Everybody saw that coming, I'm sure. Everyone had them in their roster.
I mean, I only have him one place, and I started him there. So,
yeah. How's that horseshoe feel?
I don't know. He's been playing well this year. He's been very startable. I think if you're down for running backs, like if you're down on your running backs, then he was a pretty logical play this week.
Okay.
I don't know. But what are you doing with Kenyon Drake? You think he's going to be a long-term answer there? Or you think they're going to go out and get somebody in the draft?
I think they got more pressing needs in the draft, and I think Cliff has proven that you can get production out of Drake. I don't think there's necessarily any need. I wouldn't be surprised if they. I mean, just about every team needs to take a late flyer on a guy, and the depth in this draft class is such that maybe they'll get a guy with a late pick. So I'd say they have somebody, but
you don't think they're going to be a team that or Kenyon Drake's going to be a guy that gets wiped out by the 2020 class. So
probably not immediately. He might lose his job to injury if they get a guy that comes in and does well in his stead. But no, I don't think they're going to use a high draft pick on him. I'll see it.
Okay.
I think they can roll with Kenyon Drake.
I think they can too.
Look at him at the end of the 2017 season. What was it? I think it was his rookie season. It was either his rookie season or his second year. I think he was the leading rusher in the NFL the last 7 games of the season.
Yeah, I mean, he's been good. He just never really got volume until now.
Is
this somebody that you're planning on buying?
If it was before last week, probably. I think last week may have drove his price tag up so high, but I think I'm willing to let it ride through the offseason a little bit and try to attack some people in the offseason, see if I can get him for cheaper once this whole rush has died down a little.
Okay,
not big on buying high, so
it's just such a high potent offense that I feel like I mean, David Johnson was great to start the season till he got injured and just got wiped off the team.
I mean, he wasn't great. His production was great, mostly because he was safe through the receiving game. But yeah,
right. And the fact that Drake has shown he can rush in that system.
So, would you pay a second-round pick for him?
I would.
High second?
No, mid to low.
Interesting. Okay, so when you're looking at the high second round, I think right now that projects to the Eno Benjamin type range. Would you rather have Eno Benjamin with landing spot unknown, or Kenyon Drake?
Yeah, I guess I would do it then because I would rather have Kenyon Drake.
How about you, Andrew?
I don't know Benjamin.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna get you into the film this offseason, so.
Well, no, You said Benjamin. I don't know him.
Oh my god. Oh my god. All right, we're moving on immediately. Joe, you got someone you want to talk about?
I'd like to talk about Tony Pollard a little bit. He showed why the Cowboys liked him so much earlier in the season. He had, I think, 11 carries for 131 or 12 carries for 131 yards and a touchdown. He looked explosive.
So do you see any situation where Zeke is healthy and you feel comfortable playing Pollard in your flex spot?
No.
Okay, so for you, he's just a high value handcuff.
He is. That's all he is. It shows though if anything happens with Zeke, because Zeke's shown in the offseason that he can be a putz.
Yeah.
That if he is suspended by any amount of time or decides he wants to sit out for a while, I don't know.
So what's your price point for a high value handcuff?
I'm just trying to sell him.
You're trying to sell him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to sell him. I want to find a Zeke owner and dump him right off to him.
Let's say you're a Zeke owner. What's your price point for your handcuff?
A fourth?
Fourth?
Oof.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll get him for a
I
fourth.
don't think so.
No.
I'm not a guy that's going to overpay for a handcuff, though. I'd rather use my picks to draft somebody else who has the possibility of having a starting job somewhere.
But if you're selling him, are you trying to get a fourth for him?
Oh, sure.
You take a fourth for him.
Oh, for No, I'm sorry. If I'm selling him, no, I'm asking for a third. I'll sell him for a third.
Late third?
Probably.
But you wouldn't give a third for him. You only give a fourth.
Right. Because I don't like having handcuffs.
Is this what you mean when you talk about me, Sean?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is exactly what I mean.
I think I understand now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's talk. Let's see. Let's talk Josh Gordon. So Josh Gordon got busted for what is being described as PEDs. There's not much more information on it other than that right now. Is this the career ender?
I think so.
I think so too.
It's
sad.
There's too much.
So does this fall in the same category as other substance abuse, like in terms of like cumulative suspensions and stuff?
Yeah, I think it all wraps
It's all
into
drug
one.
related.
So, yeah. So I don't think there's going to be any leniency because this would be his first time on actual PED list. I think that it all connects with all the drug stuff. So suspended indefinitely is definitely not a good tag to have.
Nope.
So if you have them, are you dropping them?
I'll throw him out there on the trade block first to see. I mean, I'll take anything.
You'd take a fifth?
I'd take a fifth. Yeah, hell yeah. If I'm gonna drop him.
Do you guys have them anywhere?
No.
Yeah, I got them a lot of places.
I did not take the risk.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've acquired them for dirt cheap over the years for stuff like a fifth, a fourth. And I've just kind of held. And I was really hoping that I could sell him after this year when he goes and signs a contract with somebody else after Seattle. And this happened right at the end of the year, and that's just...
And you're like,
So what are you selling him for now?
I'm not selling him. I'm not dropping him either. He's gonna clog up a spot on my bench, and that's just something that I have to accept because, not like I understand sunk cost, but at the same time, like he's somebody that we've seen those spikes in values over the years. So until it's confirmed that he is done, I mean, like there's no point in dropping him to pick up somebody off the waiver wire that has probably about as good a chance of being productive as Josh Gordon at this point.
yeah.
So I'm holding, not expecting anything out of it, but hoping, I guess. Andrew, got anybody for us?
I like Terry Cohen a lot. The human joystick, as they call him.
I like him as a talent. Do you like him as a fantasy asset?
I do. I think he's been poorly used this season. I think it's starting to come around a little bit. I think we're starting to see what we wanted when we drafted him, or held him if we previously drafted him, because last year he was a very, very productive fantasy asset, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was.
And so, like, maybe that is his ceiling, but even as a ceiling, that was pretty decent value. I think that most of the season we've been looking at his floor, and so I think what you're really going to get out of him for 2 or 3 more years is probably somewhere in between.
Okay, so here's what I'm looking at. Basically, after next year, he is no longer under contract. So he's under contract with the Bears for 1 more year.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what scares me is backs like this very rarely get signed to teams with the team intending on them being a feature back.
Duke Johnson.
That's exactly.
He can't carry a feature workload.
I mean, it depends on what you look at as a feature back. I think he could get 10 to 12 carries a game and 5+ receptions, and that's a feature workload. If you're getting pretty close to 20 touches a game, I think that's a feature workload.
Yeah, I'd much rather him get 8 carries and 10 targets.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you want. What I'm saying is
it does.
It doesn't, because Duke Johnson is like a prime example of what I could see in Tariq Cohen's future.
And he's just been emasculated by Carlos Hyde.
And he's just not getting the volume that he needs. And like guys that are reliant on catching the football are game script reliant players. And you can try and predict game script, but it doesn't always go according to plan. And when it doesn't go according to plan, you're laying goose eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, do you think Duke Johnson is being used reasonably in Houston?
No. But I think that's pretty indicative of how those types of running backs are used. You look at Theo Riddick during his Lions tenure, and just backs that you have very few backs that are reliant on their pass catching skills that are consistent on a week-to-week basis.
Darren Sproles.
Theo Riddick had a pretty close to a 2-year stretch where he was performing at Tariq Cohen's ceiling.
That was also when they literally didn't have any other running backs.
It was a Zach Center.
Didn't have a 100-yard rusher since 2011, Reggie Bush. And we're also throwing the ball 50, 55 times a game.
But they also didn't have a competent offensive coordinator.
No. So, I don't know. I guess backs like this, to me, generally aren't guys that I want to invest in because they are so up and down on a week-to-week basis. Like, I would much rather invest in guys that I think could potentially carry a rushing workload and can also catch the football.
Would you rather have Tariq Cohen or David Montgomery?
David Montgomery.
David Montgomery, for that exact reason.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge David Montgomery guy. I was very down on this running back class this year outside of Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs. And David Montgomery's performed better than I thought. But, yeah, I still think I'm taking Montgomery because he can carry a rushing workload and can also catch the football. Yep. So, I don't know. I'm not buying Cohen. I am definitely selling him for a second.
Yep.
Any second.
I definitely sell him for a second as well.
Andrew's thinking here. Are you buying for a second, Andrew?
I think so.
Okay. Interesting.
I think if I was selling, I'd be looking for a first. I might kick something back to get to a first, but I'd be looking for a first.
I don't think you'll get. In fact, I can almost guarantee you won't get a first, but you would buy for a second?
I'd probably buy for a second, but I'd probably take a hard look at my team first.
Okay. Fair enough. Joey, who you got for us?
I want to talk about Myles Gaskin in Miami. He finally got a little bit more run with the team this week. He's split time on the field with Patrick Laird. finished with 12 touches for about 70 yards. So, I mean, he looked a lot better than he has, and they actually gave him opportunity this week. So, I'm sure they're a candidate to go into the 2020 class and draft somebody, but they have needs all over that team. So, if he can, in these last few weeks, prove that he's a competent runner, then he definitely might have a spot on the team next year.
Right. I mean, I think theoretically, if he comes out and had 2 really strong games to finish the season, he could push the front office to invest elsewhere since they do have so many needs.
Right.
But I don't think he's going to get the volume that he needs to do that. And I think that at this point, you basically have to gamble because if you wait till those 2 games happen, you're going to have to overpay for him. And if you pay for him now, you'll pay cheaper, but you may end up just be paying for nothing.
Right.
Is that a gamble you want to take?
Yeah, it's tough, man. I really liked him in Washington. He was
I did
great.
too.
But I don't know. There's something about Miami.
Well, yeah, they suck. I think the fact that Patrick Laird is getting so much work with him on the roster is concerning to me. So it's not a gamble I'm taking. I do own him in a lot of places because I drafted him at the very tail end of drafts, and I picked him up on the waiver wire most other places.
I think I'm waiting till at least one more week just to see if the snap share stays the same. If it switches more in his favor.
See, but if you wait another week and he gets snap share and he does well, then you're going to have to pay.
But how much really for Myles Gaskin?
Let's say he has a 100-yard game next week.
Yeah.
The Myles Gaskin owner who's been sitting on him all year is going to use this as confirmation of everything they believed, and they're going to want a late second for him.
Yeah.
And you're not going to want to pay that.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Do you have an explanation for all of the Patrick Laird love that I've been seeing on Twitter lately?
It's got a lot of receptions.
It's another just like player that everyone wants to love.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Okay. It's just like a shtick, is it?
Yeah.
Nobody's actually seriously in love with Patrick Laird.
Yes.
Okay.
At least I don't believe it.
He's just boner of the week.
If they say it, I don't believe it.
He's just boner of the week.
Roger.
All right, we're gonna take a short.
Mustache.
God damn it! God damn it! Okay. Are you done? Are you done?
Hit it.
We're gonna go to break so that Andrew doesn't have a chance to say anything else. All right, we are back, and let's start talking Mark Ingram. What are you guys doing with Mark Ingram right now?
Selling the shit out of him.
Yeah.
If I had him anywhere, I'd sell him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So he's basically he's going to be around next year for sure. They have a potential out after 2020. 2021, he's like 6.2 million, which is pretty reasonable for a back if he's a productive one. So I think if he's still productive, he'll be around for 2021 for the last year of his deal. If he kind of fades down the stretch next year, he'll be out of Baltimore. You got Justice Hill got drafted there this year. Do you think they potentially add somebody in the draft?
I think it depends on what happens with Gus Edwards too. If he hangs around, I still think they might do it. Honestly, either way, they're going to add somebody. If Gus Edwards is gone, I think they take a mid-round guy. If Gus Edwards stays, I think they'll just add some depth late in the draft.
See, and I think regardless of Gus Edwards, they're probably like a 4th to 6th round. I don't think you're going to, honestly, 4th round might be earlier than I'd expect. I'd be surprised if they took anybody in the 4th round or earlier.
Yeah.
When did they take Hill? Justice Hill?
Fourth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably not going earlier than that.
Probably not. So you're looking at a late round guy. Justice Hill finally got some work this week. It was 4 carries, so not much, but he got on the field, which is something we haven't really seen much of this year. Didn't do a whole lot with it. 15 yards, no targets in the passing game, which is kind of strange considering that's one of his strong points.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with Ingram. What are you willing to sell him for?
I'm going to try to get a first for him, at least a first. He's been
Okay.
so productive in that system that especially if he's under contract for the next 2 years, that it could be a valuable contract. So I'm getting at least a first.
So if someone offers you an early second, you're saying no.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I don't think anyone's giving you a first for a going to be 30-year-old running back.
But he's
That's
a
where
young
I'm at, too.
he's a young 30 though. He's not like
There's
your
no such thing as a young 30.
I can
Frank
tell you
Gore.
that. As
Frank
a 30-year-old, I can tell you that. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a first for him. If you were going to get a first for him, it was going to be from a contending team that needed running back help. And you're a little late to the party there.
I'm going to prove you guys wrong. I'm going to do it this offseason.
Okay. Yeah. If you can get it done,
I'm going to
check
do
back
it.
with us.
I will.
So if you're not selling for anything other than a first, are you buying for a mid-second?
I don't think I'm going to buy him anywhere, no. I think if I don't own him, I'm not going to do anything with him.
I mean, you would buy him for the right price. I'm asking what your price is. Like, if someone asked you for a 4th-round pick for Mark Ingram, you'd say yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
3rd-round
I
pick?
guess I'd give it like a mid-second for him.
Okay. All right, Stan, I think I'd be happy selling for a mid-second.
Yeah.
I would as well. I don't think I would give a mid-second for him. I think it'd have to be a third for me.
I would do a late second. I don't think there's any chance you're getting him for a third, but I would definitely do a late second. Like if I'm a contender this year, and I'm going to have that late pick, I'll trade my late second for Mark Ingram, get some running back support for next year, and then if things aren't working out, I'll sell him to another contender. So, flip side, Justice Hill. Are you at all interested?
I take a flyer on him, but I'm not investing any serious capital because I don't think I don't think the market warrants it at this point.
Okay, so what's serious capital for you? Like, what would you like? Would you pay a third?
No, I don't think he went for a third in rookie drafts, and I don't think his value has appreciated drastically since then.
He definitely went for a third in rookie drafts.
I personally wouldn't pay more than a 4th for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you sell for a 4th?
Probably not.
I think he's more or less. I think he's a hold for me. I don't. The offense is just they run so many plays that if he does end up getting like even a modest workload with that team.
So what's the minimum you would sell him for?
I'd probably sell him for a third. I just wouldn't buy him for a third.
Okay, late third?
No.
I'd sell him for a late third.
Oh, yeah, sell him for a late third, not buy him for a late third.
Okay, you both would sell him for a late third.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I am going to have a late third in our sleeper league. I might be willing to spend for that. So we'll.
I don't have him.
I don't know who has them, but I'm just interested to see who does. So, all right, Andrew, you got anyone you want to talk about?
What about Brashad Perriman with the Week 15 breakout? After
year 4.
Is it 4? I thought it might have been 5.
Yeah, it's year 4 or 5. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you can sell them, I'm selling them.
Yeah.
What are you taking for him? What are you asking for him? Much less what are you taking for him?
A third.
Yeah.
I think people would probably pay a third for him at this point.
I think so too.
On his
I'm
potential.
totally into it then.
I mean, he played decent towards the end of the season last season with Cleveland, and he hasn't really done much. But it's been all Godwin and Evans in Tampa. But
so I had him earlier this season, and so I watched some of his highlights, if you want to call it that, and he played like trash at the beginning of the season, just at like dropping easy passes.
that's been his thing.
And I don't think he's changed anything. I think it's just he got opportunity and he actually took advantage for once. I don't think this is gonna last. So Yeah, I'd probably take a fourth firm at this point, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, I've never been a fan of Brashad Perriman. Teams fall in love with the speed, and the problem is that to be a deep threat in the NFL, there's so much more to it than just speed. You have to do a lot of other things well, and for whatever reason, teams continue to ignore that when evaluating wide receivers.
Hayward Bay. Remember Hayward Bay?
Yep, I remember Hayward
Martavis
Bay.
Bryant?
Troy Williamson. Martavis Bryant was actually successful, though. He did other things well.
For how long?
He just,
Like
well, I
smoking
mean,
weed.
drugs.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I'm off the Perriman train. I'll take a third for him. I don't really trade for fourths, almost ever, because to me, fourth round picks hold almost no value in anybody's mind. And, so you can't trade it for anything. And at that point, you're using them to get guys that hopefully aren't going to make your roster. So at that point, I'd rather just hold on to Perriman and hope that by some miracle, this is real and he ends up doing something on some other team.
My favorite tweet of the day was all of the teams that are going to start Perriman next week after his big breakout this week with Godwin and Evans out. And he's just going to drop a huge egg in their rosters and just going to cost so many people championships.
Nobody that's in the championship is starting Brashad Perriman. If you're starting Brashad Perriman anywhere, then you shouldn't be in a championship.
You got in there with luck.
Yeah.
Or with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess so. All right. Joey, who you got?
Will Grier, Carolina. He's getting his first start of his career this week coming up.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
So I'm kind of nervous about it. I'm a little nervous about it because they obviously didn't have much faith on him earlier in the season. They spent a third on him, but they elected to go with Kyle Allen once Cam went down, and he hasn't done anything to take it. I mean, Kyle Allen hasn't. I mean, he started off solid, but it's not like he's played great the past few weeks. And Will Grier hasn't done anything to show that he needs to start. Finally, Kyle Allen goes and throws up a terrible game. What do you have, 3 interceptions this game? And they finally named Will Grier the starter. They're going to give him the chance at the last 3 games of the season. The one thing that worries me is if I don't know if I'm going to buy him yet because of the record of the Panthers. They're 5-9 right now. If they end up trading Cam and maybe even getting higher capital, they might spend it on a quarterback, and then Will Grier is kind of just
right. And I mean, that's kind of where everybody's at, though. So, like, that's baked into the cost, I think. You're gambling with them.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is how much of Will Grier not playing has to do with Will Grier and how much of it has to do with the coaching staff trying to bring him along slowly? Because there's no way for us to know that either way.
Right.
It is entirely possible that Will Grier, they just didn't want to throw him to the wolves, and so they wanted to give him some time to get comfortable with the playbook and all that stuff. And in reality, if the Cam injury had happened this week, they would start Grier over Kyle Allen in the first place. It's tough to say, though. I did like him more than most in college, and I think the third round was probably the right place for him to go. I don't think that he was an NFL stud prospect or anything like that, but I did like him more than most. So I think I'm willing to gamble on him. In Superflex, he's going to be rostered, and I think I'm willing to trade a third for him.
Yeah.
You might be able to get him for a third. People might be asking for a second at this point in Superflex, and I'm not paying that. In 1 QB leagues, he's going to probably be on your waiver wire, and I'm going to pick him up.
Right.
If you were taking a dart throw on a quarterback, would you rather have Grier or Rosen?
Oh, man. That's really tough because I had Rosen evaluated as a prospect far higher than I had Grier. I actually really liked Rosen coming out, and I consider that to be my biggest miss at quarterback so far. Since evaluating, I also think Rosen hasn't gotten a fair shot.
Right.
I have no idea whether he's going to get a fair shot next year, and I think that if ends up on a team that's just absolute garbage, then we're kind of looking at his career just being wasted at that point, because
Right.
bouncing around to this many different coaches, teams, systems, like it can't be good for your development, and none of these QBs come out NFL ready.
I'd like to see him head over to Indianapolis.
Yeah, I would
Play
love
behind
that.
a strong offensive line, good receiving core, a decent receiving core at least.
Yeah, I mean, he went from the worst offensive line to the second worst offensive line, and then the
Right.
second worst offensive line traded away all their good offensive linemen.
Right.
It's a-
And when
it-
you're not a mobile quarterback, that's not a recipe for success. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick at least is mobile.
Hey, we want to talk about how to blackball quarterbacks. It's just put them on crappy teams and trade away their offensive lines when they're rookies.
And then have fun.
Yeah.
So I've got Rosen stashed a bunch of places, and I have heard rumors of him to New England.
Ooh,
I would be totally into that.
I would be
honestly.
too.
Yeah, I think
I think
he's worth. I think he's worth the stash. That's why I got him a couple different places.
Yeah, I think. I mean, he's not. His career's not done yet. He's definitely worth a stash. I don't think I'm going to go out and buy him anywhere.
No,
but if you
he's on
have
your
him, hold
waiver
on to
wire.
him. Yeah.
If he's- because some of the shallower dynasty leagues I'm in, like 25-man rosters, he is sitting there on the waiver wire in one QB league. So,
Yep.
But yeah, I think I have 4 shares of Rosen right now, and I have 2 shares of Will Grier. So, I don't know. To me, I like guys like that just have the potential to end up being a startable quarterback, because I don't like investing in quarterbacks in one QB leagues.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of Drew Lock shares as well, just because I really like just taking the gamble on those QBs that could end up being startable QBs in the future. So,
Yeah.
How about N'Keal Harry? I'll let you guys talk on him, because I think most people know my feelings on him. If you don't, I was super low on N'Keal Harry. I had him graded as a 3rd-round prospect from NFL standards, not from fantasy standards, but I was definitely the lowest of anybody that I talked to about N'Keal Harry. So I'll let you guys kind of take this one. What do you guys think about him? Where are you buying, selling, interested, not interested? What do you think?
I don't think you're selling. I don't think you get anything for him for selling him right now, unless you find somebody that was really, really high on him, and yet somehow didn't get him. I guess because I think he fell in a lot of fantasy drafts, because I don't think New England was anybody's idea of an ideal landing spot for him. I was not a big fan of him until I found out he's Canadian.
Canadian A.
God damn it! That's right. We were gonna skip N'Keal Harry. You said it. Oh man.
Is
My
he
bad.
Is he from your area?
A real gin. I no, he's definitely not from my area. We don't produce NFL players in my area.
I thought everybody from Canada knew each other.
That's a big country.
Jim from Edmonton, I know him.
So for me, I guess N'Keal Harry is one of those where I was so against the grain on him that I'm willing to, now that it's a buy low situation, try and hedge my bets on him.
Yeah.
Because I think the community kind of had him as the 101 or 102 this year, depending on, it was him or Josh Jacobs. I am not right about every prospect I watch. I think I get more right than I get wrong, but I like to hedge my bets when they get low enough, similar to what I did with Ronald Jones, where, you know, he was a consensus first round rookie pick. And then once he had a trash rookie year, I was able to go out and get him for 3rd-round picks. And I've been happy with that investment, because I was able to sell him back for seconds once he started getting work. I think I could do, you can't get N'Keal Harry for a 3rd, but I think I might be interested in hedging my bets and going after N'Keal Harry in, 2-3 leagues, something like that.
Are we looking at a future where Josh Rosen is throwing touchdowns to N'Keal Harry?
Always
would
with the
be
tough
sweet.
questions, the ones that we need to hear about.
I just so I don't know that much about college football. I'll be completely honest, but isn't Arizona State like a relatively
You will
smaller, like it's not one of the big powerhouse schools? He's not playing against top competition. Is that true?
I mean, it's the Pac-12. It's not like the powerhouses, but they have some pretty decent talent there.
Yeah.
UCLA, Oregon, Arizona.
UCLA.
My
Okay.
issue with N'Keal Harry was that he wasn't a super precise route runner, and he didn't really win in any way other than his strength at the top of his routes and his strength at the catch point. And the strength at the top of his routes did not get him nearly as much separation as it has some other wide receivers past that have been successful in that way, like Juju Smith-Schuster.
Huge.
I don't know that there is a huge market for wide receivers that don't win in any way other than their contested catch ability, and that was his primary calling card. So for me, N'Keal Harry was just never going to amount to much more than a wide receiver 2 ceiling.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So what would you be willing to pay to buy him?
I don't think I'm going to pay anything more than a third for him.
You wouldn't spend a second on him?
No, I don't see it. He's already been outperformed by Jacoby Myers, who was didn't he go undrafted?
Yeah, he was one of my darlings.
Yeah,
I wrote a
same here.
long article about him. He was awesome.
Boy, I was a big fan.
Yeah, he was one where when you're watching Kelvin Harmon, he just stood out on tape. It's like,
Mhm.
who's this other kid? But
Mhm.
I think I'd be willing to pay a second for N'Keal Harry at this point.
Yeah,
I think
I'd pay a third.
regardless of my opinion on him, anytime you can get the consensus 101 or 102 for a second round pick, I think you have to go for it.
What about you, Andrew?
Doesn't he remind you of Treadwell?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. That
100%.
was absolutely what I saw him as.
Yeah. No thanks. I'll pass.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you spend a third on him?
Probably not.
You wouldn't spend a third round pick on somebody who is consensus top 2 rookie draft pick less than 12 months ago.
I've lived that nightmare before.
Okay. All right. All right, we're going to take a short break, and then we will be back to finish this up. All right, we got a couple of guys we want to talk about still here. Andrew, you got somebody?
Steven Sims Jr.
No.
Okay. Joseph Hagan.
What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
Sean.
Just for our
Flanagan.
listeners, before each show, we have this big list of players that we want to touch on, and we get to as many as we can. We get to the third segment, we cross off a couple that we don't really need to talk about because we're not going to have time. And Stevie Sims is one that we weren't going to have time for, and you immediately come out for that.
So,
all right, Joey, who do you want to talk about?
Devontae Parker.
All right, we're talking about
sure
Devontae
we
Parker.
specifically said we were going to talk about Steven Sims Jr.
No, we did the opposite
that
of that.
break.
We did the exact opposite of that. Devontae Parker. What are you guys doing? You buying?
Me?
I swear to God, that's why I
No,
was just,
that's literally what just happened.
he's like, we're not going to talk Stevie Sims, and you're like,
It's like we
and
don't
you're
have
like,
time.
okay.
Let's skip Stevie.
Why
Sims.
did I redo all that research on Steven Sims Jr. if we're going to skip him?
Just to make you do
No,
something.
it's fine. It's
We
fine.
just try and give you menial tasks so that we can do the business stuff while you go off and
He's a
do
5'10",
your
190
research.
rookie out of Kansas.
do
He had
your
11
research about
targets,
players that we're not going to
and
talk about.
he may get more. That's it.
I'll just go make another troll account for Sean Lanigan.
All right,
Flanagan,
well,
Flanagan.
now we don't have time to talk about anybody, so let's just end it.
Devontae Parker got a
Parker.
4-year
All right.
extension.
Yeah, Parker got a 4-year extension. Are you guys buying him?
Yeah, actually, he's looked great this season. I don't know.
He finally had that breakout everyone's been talking about.
Look at the team he's been stuck with.
Oh, I know. And he still doesn't have great quarterback play.
But he's
Might
got
have-
somebody who's going to throw him the ball.
Yeah, so do you think that his quarterback play is going to improve next year?
Are you besmirching Fitzmagic?
I mean, I think they're going to retain Fitzmagic. and they'll draft somebody. So, I mean, either way, they'll have at least a high draft pick quarterback or Fitzpatrick again. So, yeah.
When you say he hasn't had good quarterback play, I agree with you on an NFL level, but from a fantasy perspective, like somebody's just willing to throw the ball up to him, can you really do a whole lot better than Fitzpatrick?
No.
Oh no, I'm saying I like Fitzpatrick for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say they go out and they get, I don't know, let's say they get Tua. And let's say Tua comes back healthy. What would you be willing to pay for Devontae Parker with that knowledge?
I pay a second.
Okay. High second?
Give me a minute. Keep talking. I'm gonna look into this real quick.
I don't think you're getting them for a second personally. I too would pay a second for him. I don't think that's his value right now. I
don't think there's any way that anybody's paying a first for him. So I think he's got to be in the second. Maybe
most people
a high
that have
second
him
is what you'd have to pay.
Most people that have him probably paid a first for him and hung on to him for 4 years. And as you've mentioned several times, most people don't have a great grasp of sunk costs. So they're trying to get something back for that investment.
There might be people out there, though, that have watched him struggle for 4 years and are now just like, oh my God, I finally have a sell window, you know?
His targets this year, though, are great. I'm just looking at his stat line. I mean, his yards per catch are, 16.2? 16.2 yards per reception. And he has 5 different games with at least 10 targets.
Yeah, he's produced.
I mean, they're not going to be a good team again next year, so they're going to be playing behind.
So, high second round pick are you buying if somebody's offering?
I think it will.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think I'm more in the mid second round. I struggle to trust players that have been not productive for this long that break out. And I'm willing to be wrong on it because I will continue to draft other productive receivers until I hit on them. I don't know.
Do you have a comparable other than Brashad Perriman, guys that have waited this long to break out?
Not off the top of my head, no. I'd have to look. I'd have to pull it up, but that can be a topic for next podcast. Kareem
Lama
Hunt.
Stevenson Jr.
Kareem Hunt. So interesting. He's on a 1-year deal in Cleveland. Right now, he hasn't been consistently productive enough to be a flex play, really. He's had on and off production. He's been useful in the passing game. If he stays in Cleveland, he's probably not somebody you're ever going to really feel comfortable starting as long as Chubb is healthy.
Right.
If he goes somewhere else, you probably feel really good about him. So, with that in mind, and not knowing whether he's going to be in Cleveland or somewhere else next year, what are you willing to spend to acquire him, knowing that there's a chance he ends up somewhere else as a feature back?
I'm still sticking to that second round range just because of the unsurety. But I don't think Cleveland's going to have enough money to pay for him. I think somebody's going to pay top dollar for Kareem Hunt next year.
Joey, what did you say you'd pay for Tony Pollard?
I think I said a fourth.
Okay.
Because handcuff. So if he ends up back in Cleveland, what are you willing to pay for him?
Maybe a third, high third.
Okay. How about you, Joey? Or how about you, Andrew?
I don't think he has that much more value than Tony Pollard.
No?
I think he's more proven, but he's also older. But he's also
24.
He's got a. Is that not older than Tony Pollard?
By what, like a year or two?
Okay. Point stands. So he's also he's also got. I mean, he's one misstep from never playing in the league ever again, right? He's got that uncertainty around him as well. I don't know. I think, and it's not necessarily that I think Tony Pollard's worth more. I'm surprised that you're willing to pay that much. I don't think I'd pay that much for Hunt.
Well, I'm paying that much for Hunt because he's already shown that he can be a feature back in the league, and
in Kansas City.
and he's on a 1-year deal. Well, he still had 4.6 yards per carry this season, plus he's averaging 45 receiving yards a game as a backup. I mean, so he's just shown that he can still be a feature back, like a 3-down back. And he's on a 1-year deal, so he can go wherever he wants next year. Pollard is on a rookie contract on his rookie year, stuck behind Ezekiel Elliott.
I think Pollard is largely replaceable too. I think that the Cowboys could bring somebody else in the draft in the 5th round this year and play the same role as Pollard. And I don't think that if Pollard and Hunt both got cut right now, one of them would end up with a job as a feature back, and it would not be Tony Pollard.
See, you said Kareem Hunt can go wherever he wants. I disagree. There are many teams that have an opportunity to claim him. One of you said at the end of this year, when his contract's up, he can go wherever he wants.
So I meant for whoever wants, like, he's going to have offers. He gets his choice.
Is he, though? Like, didn't he clear waivers?
But that was right after his assault. I think people are willing to look past it after a year. Like, GMs are.
Is that all it takes?
Teams,
so.
Teams don't care. Teams are not.
GMs are heartless shit people.
Yeah, they don't have.
Why did teams care? Why did teams care a year ago, but they don't care now?
Because it's all about how it looks from a PR perspective.
Right.
Yeah, people are still like wringing their hands over Tyreek Hill.
I mean, Tyreek Hill happened this year, for one, and I guess Kareem Hunt happened
last year.
Yeah, I don't know the exact timeline on it, but either way, like, Tyreek Hill has had several incidents.
2.
Wasn't one of them pushing a pregnant woman down the stairs, though?
Yeah, and punching her in the stomach.
No, he choked her and punched her in the stomach.
Oh.
And pushed her down the stairs.
Okay, I don't remember that part.
Yeah, those all same thing. But yeah, and the Tyreek Hill stuff is repeat offenses, and also I think people were just a lot more upset about that than they were Kareem Hunt. And I'm not gonna say how anybody should feel about it one way or the other, but I think that teams are definitely willing to look past that stuff. And realistically, like, the NFL is okay with it. Like, you look at how the NFL handles the press on Tyreek Hill now, NFL doesn't bring it up at all anymore.
No.
You know, like, it doesn't, you see on ESPN, and like, people aren't talking about that at all. They're talking about how great of a football player he is, because they want to look past that, because they want talent in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I would be absolutely shocked if Kareem Hunt didn't get offers.
Okay.
So, last guy, we're out of time here, but just real quick, Miles Sanders, you guys are both paying a first for him, right?
Yep.
Easily.
Okay.
100%.
How high of a first would you be willing to go to pay for him?
I'd probably go 1.4.
Okay.
I don't know if I go that high. I'd probably go 1.6.
I think 1.6 is about where I'm at too.
I like his receiving ability better than some of those other top backs in the draft.
No, it's totally fair, but then you got to account for Judy, CeeDee Lamb as well. So, I don't know. I think I'm sitting around the 1.6, maybe 1.5, because I think some of those guys get weeded out by landing spot, or at least pushed down because of landing spot.
Right.
So yeah, I think 1.5, 1.6 is about what I'd pay for Miles Sanders right now. So, all right. Well, this has been the F3 podcast. Once again, you can find me on Twitter at Lanny1925. Joey, where can we find you?
Joey the Tooth IDP.
And Andrew, where can we find you for the time being?
At DubsFans02 until further notice.
All right.
TBD.
You can find our written content at dynastyfootballdigest.com and at idpguys.org. For $1 a month, you can subscribe to the websites. You get tools, rankings, trade calculators, start-sit charts, access to all the written content comes free. And then we also have our Slack channel where you can basically jump in and ask any of us questions about anything, and we are on call all the time. So with that, thanks
Michael
for coming
Thomas
on,
touchdown.
Did
Michael
he?
Thomas. Yep.
All right. Yeah,
Come
we
on, man.
gotta end this podcast so I can watch this game. Yeah, sorry, Andrew. This is gonna be the end of you for that league. So, all right, we'll see you guys next week.
All right, later.